Everyone selling AI stocks right now is about to watch the people who bought this exact dip get rich in front of them. 3 weeks ago, the market was euphoric. Today, half of Wall Street thinks the AI trade is dead, and that gap between what people believe and what's actually happening inside these companies is where real money gets made. My name is Jordan, and I've turned exactly this kind of panic into some of my biggest winners, buying into fear instead of running from it. In this video, I'm breaking down 5 stories the media is completely botching right now, and why they point to one of the best buying windows we've seen all year. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Let's get into it. Let's start with what actually happened, because most people only saw the headline, not the mechanics behind it. Over the past 3 weeks, we watched one of the fastest sentiment reversals in recent memory. A widely followed market sentiment gauge swung from firmly greedy territory into fear in a matter of days. That kind of move doesn't happen because fundamentals suddenly changed. It happens because a handful of scary headlines hit all at once, and algorithms plus retail investors reacted before anyone stopped to check whether the underlying businesses were actually in trouble. Here's what triggered it. A major cloud provider missed on one specific guidance metric. Not revenue, not profit. A forward guidance number buried 3 slides into an earnings deck. That single miss got amplified across financial media within hours, and suddenly every AI adjacent stock was getting dragged down together, regardless of whether that company had anything to do with the original problem. This is what happens in every single AI sell-off. The market doesn't sell selectively. It sells everything with AI attached to it, good and bad businesses alike, and that's exactly where opportunity shows up for people willing to actually read the filings instead of the headlines. On top of that, we got a hotter than expected inflation print, which pushed back rate cut expectations yet again. Higher rates mean higher borrowing costs, and higher borrowing costs hit growth companies hardest because their value depends heavily on profits that are still years away. That's simple math, not a referendum on whether AI is real. But markets don't price things calmly in the short term. They overreact, then they correct, then a few months later, everyone acts like the whole thing was obvious in hindsight. If you want a simple way to track this yourself, sentiment indexes like the one I mentioned are free and public. When that score is sitting in the 20s, history says you should be paying attention, not running away. It won't call the exact bottom, nothing does, but it tells you when the crowd has stopped thinking clearly. And that's usually when the best entries show up. Now, let's talk about the story that actually matters underneath all this noise. The infrastructure build-out is not slowing down. It's accelerating. And the companies building it just told us so directly. Start with the hyperscalers. Every single one of the major cloud players raised their capital expenditure guidance again this quarter. Not cut it, raised it. These are companies spending tens of billions of dollars building data centers, and they keep telling investors demand for compute is outpacing what they can physically build. That is not the behavior of an industry rolling over. That's an industry racing to keep up. The bottleneck right now isn't demand, it's power and chips. Data centers need electricity. And in several regions, utility companies are already warning that grid capacity is becoming the limiting factor for how fast new facilities can come online. That's created a secondary opportunity most retail investors are completely ignoring: power infrastructure and grid equipment companies, transformer manufacturers, grid modernization firms, even nuclear and natural gas utilities near major data center hubs are seeing multi-year order backlogs. When the actual physical constraint on an entire industry is electricity, the companies that supply electricity infrastructure become just as important as the chip makers. And right now, they're trading like ordinary utility stocks instead of AI infrastructure plays. Then there's the memory story, which I think is the most underappreciated piece of this entire cycle. Every advanced AI chip needs high bandwidth memory sitting right next to it, and that memory is brutally hard to make. It takes years to build the specialized fabs, yields are lower than standard memory, and there are only a small handful of companies on Earth that can produce it at scale. Every one of the major memory producers has said the same thing on recent earnings calls. They are sold out. Capacity is booked years in advance, and pricing power is shifting decisively in their favor. When you have soaring demand hitting a supply base that takes years to expand, you get a pricing environment most other industries would kill for. That combination is exactly why memory stocks have quietly put up some of the best margin expansion of any sector connected to AI, even while their share prices got dragged down in the broader sell-off. Now let's talk about custom chips, because this is where the competitive landscape is shifting faster than almost anyone realizes. For years, one company dominated AI compute almost completely. That's still true today. But every major AI lab and hyperscaler is now working with custom chip designers to build their own specialized silicon, tuned specifically for their own workloads instead of general purpose GPUs. This isn't really about replacing the market leader. It's about these companies wanting more control over cost and supply, because when you're spending tens of billions of dollars a year on compute, even a modest efficiency gain from custom silicon is worth billions. The company designing most of these custom chips has become one of the quietest, most important players in this entire ecosystem, and yet its stock has been treated like an afterthought every time the broader AI trade sells off. Here's the part that I think gets missed the most. None of this is an either-or situation. The market keeps trading like every dollar spent on custom chips is a dollar taken away from the market leader's GPUs. But that's not how any of the earnings calls actually read. Every major AI company is buying more of everything. More GPUs, more custom chips, more memory, more networking gear. Demand is so far ahead of supply across the entire stack that competition between suppliers isn't shrinking anyone's revenue, it's just determining who captures how much of a rapidly expanding pie. Let's talk about the piece connecting all of this together, because chips sitting idle waiting on data are just expensive paperweights. Inside a modern AI data center, thousands of chips need to talk to each other constantly, moving enormous amounts of data every second. Traditional copper wiring simply cannot move data fast enough at this scale anymore. So the industry has shifted to optical connections, moving data as pulses of light instead of electricity. The companies making the lasers, the optical transceivers, and the specialized fiber for this are running into the exact same problem as the memory makers. Not enough capacity or years of backlog, and major AI companies now writing direct checks and signing multi-year supply agreements just to guarantee they get product. When the biggest, most cash-rich companies in the world are prepaying smaller suppliers just to lock in access, that tells you everything you need to know about where real scarcity sits in this market. And yet, because these are smaller, less followed names, they get caught in every broad AI sell-off, even when their order books are already full for years. I want to pause here for a second, because this next part matters if you're serious about actually building a position instead of guessing. Finding which of these companies is fairly priced versus which one just looks cheap because it fell alongside everything else is genuinely difficult. And it's the single biggest mistake I see people make. They see a stock down 20% and assume it's automatically a bargain, without checking whether the business actually has the balance sheet, the contracts, and the margins to justify buying more. That's the exact research I lean on tools for before I ever put new money into a name, cross-checking guidance, backlog, and margin trends instead of just reacting to a falling chart. If you're going to buy this dip, do the same. Read the actual transcripts. Don't trade off headlines. Let's talk about one more angle that almost nobody's covering right now. The software layer sitting on top of all this hardware. Every dollar spent on chips, memory, and networking is ultimately trying to produce something usable, models that companies can actually deploy to make money. And right now, enterprise adoption of AI tools is still in its early innings. Most large companies have run pilot programs, but very few have fully rolled these tools out across their entire workforce. That gap between experimentation and full deployment is where the next leg of this story plays out. And it's going to take years, not months. The infrastructure build out everyone's panicking about isn't preparing for demand that already peaked. It's preparing for demand that hasn't even shown up yet. So here's how I'm actually thinking about all of this. Short-term sentiment swings like the one we just went through are noise. They're driven by single data points, single guidance misses, single inflation prints, and they get amplified by algorithms and headlines way faster than any human can process the actual underlying business changes. What doesn't change in 3 weeks is a company's backlog, its customer contracts, its margin structure, or the physical constraints of building data centers and fabs that take years to construct. Those are the things that actually determine whether a stock is a good long-term holding, and none of those things broke over the past month. If anything, most of them got stronger. That doesn't mean every single AI-related stock is a buy just because it's down. Some companies really are overvalued, some really do have weak balance sheets, and some really will struggle if rates stay higher for longer. The point isn't blind optimism, it's that broad, indiscriminate sell-offs create mispricing. And mispricing is where patient investors make their money. The businesses with real contracts, real backlogs, and real pricing power tend to come out the other side of these panics stronger, not weaker, because the fear pushes their valuations down while their fundamentals keep climbing. If this kind of breakdown is useful to you, hit like and subscribe because it genuinely helps this channel reach more people. And I've got a full deep dive coming on the memory supply chain next, since I think it's the most underpriced piece of this entire story. Let me know in the comments which one of these companies you think the market has gotten most wrong. And if you want to see how I actually built my own watch list around this exact kind of volatility, check out the video on screen right now. Until next time, this is Jordan, reminding you that the best time to get greedy is exactly when everyone else is scared.